Welcome back to Outlaw Reviews. Today we're going to review a Delonghi coffee machine. It's a Delonghi Magnifica S, which is an automatic espresso maker and a coffee maker and a latte maker and a macchiato maker and all kinds of different makers. So this is an automatic machine costing roughly around $1,000. I've seen some prices go down as low as $900. Normally it stays at about $1,200 for sale in several different stores online. Let's go over this machine and see if you like it as much as I do. Right away, I want to point out that this is not a paid content. Nobody paid me to do this. Nobody gave me this machine. I paid full price for this machine. Yes, I did catch it on a sale when I picked it up for about $950, but still, I did pay money for it, and I waited a couple of months and I gave it some time, and I wanted to try out different types of coffee and different drinks that I can test. I wanted to try them all in different combinations and see what works, what doesn't. How much do I enjoy the actual experience of using this machine versus some other ones. Prior to this, I've had a couple of automatic machines. I had an espresso maker, which made only the espresso shots, which was kind of inconvenient because sometimes you want a bigger drink. I've had a barista style machine where you would use the actual grinder, and you will compact it, and then you will make your own separate drink. It's more of a barista style, and I really wanted to get something that was more automated but would allow me the capacity to make drinks as I wanted to, at the speed that I wanted to. I wanted to have different varieties that I can try and for the machine to make. The other thing that I really wanted to consider was the ability of the machine to do the milk part also automatically. As you know, a lot of machines, they will have that wand that is sticking out at the bottom, and you can put whatever kind of container or carafe underneath, and it will just heat up that milk for you, which makes it really convenient if you want to use up that milk for something else other than inside that coffee drink. So this is one of the big sticking points that I noticed with this machine, is that all of the settings are really locked into coffee making specifically. So if you wanted to get a little bit more milk, if you wanted to get some extra milk out of the machine, there was no setting for it. So in this review, we will go over the features. At the end of the video, I have a surprise for you. I'm going to give you one feature that I found out, that I discovered, that is really beneficial for my purpose, and that it is not listed in the manual guide. So if you do have this machine, or if you plan to purchase this machine, this will be a really cool, neat trick for you in order to get some more benefit out of this machine. And it is not listed anywhere in the instructions. This is a Magnifica S Cappuccino Smart machine. It's a pretty cool machine that works really well for home use. It's due to some limitations, I would not recommend it for use in the office where there are a lot of people. But for home use, this is perfect. If you have 2, 3, 4 people in your house who like to drink coffee-based drinks, this is a great machine. I waited for 2 months of daily use to do this review. The footprint of this machine is really small, and you would love it. 10 inches wide and 17 inches deep. Pretty small for a machine that does all of these things. You have the main machine over here. That incorporates the base. So first you have a tray. This is where the pucks with coffee would fall in. This is the main tray that holds this tray in it. It sits in here. Then this is the tray where all of the liquids get deposited in, because I will show you that in between each cycle of turning on and off, this machine cleans itself and it drains itself. So if you don't have some kind of vessel underneath here to catch that liquid, the smart design is it goes into the drip tray. And the drip tray, it consists of 2 covers. First is the stainless steel one, then there's the plastic cover underneath, and underneath there's this tray. And the other cool thing is this thing. it's a bobber. Like if you're familiar with fishing, you know how bobber works. So it floats on the water. So as soon as this thing starts filling up with liquid, over here on top, this little button, it will raise up, and you will know that this needs to be cleaned out and emptied out. Really cool design. On this side of the machine is the water tank. This water tank is actually very generous. Let's take it out. So here's the water tank. As you can see, the maximum line is really high up. As I will show you in a little bit, filling up this container is really easy, even from a spout in a refrigerator, because once you take off the cover comes off. Inside there is a water filter, which you're supposed to replace every couple of months. We'll go over it in a little bit. Then here is the maximum line. So what you do is you just walk up to the refrigerator, you just insert it in there, and here there's a notch that allows you to hold it down while you press that pedal in the refrigerator to fill it in. Really, again, great design. So let's pop this cover back on. Goes like so, and is easily inserted from the side. And it's in place. Done. Next thing is the milk jug. So it consists of several parts. So you have the actual container, the plastic container. Again, on this container, and I did not notice it right away, there are lines over here. I'm not sure if I can get it with a light, but I'll take a picture where maybe you can see it a little bit better. But here it shows maximum line, and there are different indication lines. So it's really easy for you to measure how much milk you have in there. That's the container. Then we have the top part. We have this hose. So to assemble it, you will insert it in. So the flat side is facing down into the container. On this side, you will insert the milk dispenser, and all it is, you just pop it in there, and that's it. It sits in there. Really easy. And then to complete the assembly, we insert this dial right here. We'll put it into insert. There. So this dial has 3 settings. There's insert, there's the actual working part where if you want to make something in the machine, you will put it on this dial here. And then this will be the cleaning cycle. And well, this is what it does here in the back if you're interested. So once it's in insert mode, it's normal. Once you go into cleaning, this notch pops out, see? And that's how it activates the cleaning mode. So to assemble this, you pop it in like so. So as you can see, the max line is pretty close to the actual lid, but it's not touching it. It's above, and let's measure it. It's exactly an inch from the bottom of the cover. Now let's put it all back together. So we have the tray that we discussed earlier, which will slide in here. Then there's the catcher for the coffee pucks. Goes in here. And we just slide it back in. Now it's ready. We're not dealing with the milk yet. We'll get to it. Right now, as you can see here on the left side, I have a water spout installed. So what this allows you to do is to distribute water. So I will leave that on for now. And once we get to the milk side, then we will be installing the milk carafe on this side instead of this spout. As I have mentioned, this machine drains itself during pretty much every use. What you want to do is keep some kind of container always on hand, which you can keep over here underneath these extending spouts. So I have this old espresso cup from Nespresso, different company, but I had to switch from Nespresso to this because, sorry Nespresso, Delonghi was better. Anyway, so I just keep this cup over here and it just stays underneath at all times, and from time to time I will pass by. If there's some liquid in it, I just dump it out into the sink. But it's good to have some kind of vessel underneath there at all times. But in case if you do forget, again, the drain pan is a savior. Amazing. At first, when you turn on the machine, when you power it on with this button right here, what it's going to do is it's going to heat up the elements, and then it's going to cycle the water. So it's going to do a cleaning cycle. So let's turn this on. As you can see, it is spitting out some of brown mixture liquid, which means that there was still some kind of coffee left over in the lines. From what I recall, before this, we made several double espresso shots. So because of that, maybe the initial shutdown, it did not flush it completely. But there we go. That was a good example of why the constant cleaning is a key feature of this machine, because after paying about $1,000 for this machine, you want it to work for years and years to come, and you want to prolong this experience. So this self-cleaning every time, even though, yes, it does waste water, and sometimes I will have to fill out that container several times a day. But just knowing that it cleans itself and it self-monitors its own health, I guess, it's a good feature and something to ease my mind, and hopefully yours, if you decide to buy one. So let's dump this one out. Dump it out, put it back underneath it. Just keep it there. Alright, so let's start with the basics. Just like on this panel, it talks about different types of drinks, and this panel came already attached, and I kept it there because it's kind of useful, especially if somebody comes over and wants to use your cool machine and you want to show it off or something. But so people will know how to use it and they won't mess it up for you. So first thing, here you have on the screen, you have different settings, and you have different strengths for coffee. So going over the strengths of coffee, you have 3 different levels. So it goes from bean, the smallest bean, middle bean, and the large bean, right? Just like so. So when these beans are displayed, that means that it's using the grinder here up on top. While we're talking about the grinder, the first thing you want to know is what kind of coffee to use. With this coffee maker, you want to make sure to use coffee that is not really covered in oils. You want it not to be shiny. This is an example of the oily beans as I was talking about. So I've tried a whole bunch of different coffees, and eventually I found one that I really liked, and it was not shiny. So here's an example of non-shiny coffee. Here's non-shiny. See, even though it is very fresh, but it's not oily. So that's what you want to use in this machine, because the oily beans, they stick in the lines and they clog them up. So Make sure to use proper coffee. Don't mess up your machine prematurely. Just imagine what they leave inside of your coffee machine if that's what they left on my hand. So the coffee goes in here in the hopper. The other option, besides using the hopper, you can also use ground coffee. To use ground coffee, you open up this opening right here, and you can put scoops of coffee directly in it. So before doing so, if you're looking right now here on the screen, if I hold this button, there, right now, it just turned into a scoop, which means that now it will process ground coffee. It will process from here instead of going through its own grinder. I've used it a couple of times. Really, the difference is so drastic that I stopped using it because there's nothing better than a fresh cup of coffee. The other thing is here on top, there's an adjustment wheel which allows you to change the grind size, which will affect the quality and the taste of your coffee. So just keep on trying them on different intensity levels. First setting here that we have is an espresso. And since we have this small cup here already, let's do an espresso shot. And if you press the 2x, that means that it doubles up on whatever you're ordering. It doesn't matter if it's an espresso, coffee, whatever. It will always make a double of what you are asking. But for this video, we'll just stay with the singles. So now I'll hit brew. So there you go. One espresso shot. Really, really, really good. Caramel on top. Let's try this. Delicious. So that was an espresso. Now let's go into coffee. Once I purchased this machine, I've looked at several different cups because I do enjoy milk drinks, and where I like to look at them from the side, because if you just have like a regular cup like that one, whatever's in there, you'll just see it only from the top, right? So I wanted to get something that would be a little bit more visually appealing. And I purchased this cup over here. It's a 14-ounce cup, but with this machine, it works amazingly because it will fill it up to the top whenever you do a double of cappuccino or macchiato. Fills it up exactly to the top, like flush with foam, and it's really good. And I've used them for about 2 months daily, and we haven't broken any of those 4 that came in a set. But I'll put up a link for these if you're interested, because I am quite literally surprised that they held up and they're still looking really good. So, and it will also make it more visually appealing for you. Let's go into coffee. Now we're in the second setting, and the setting for coffee. Let's brew it. and the coffee is done. I really like it that this machine does make it pretty hot. And some of the machines, for example, going back to the Nespresso, when I had the espresso maker, they came out usually kind of a bit tepid, but this thing makes it hot. I like it. Next up is long, which is my favorite type of coffee to have with this machine. If for some reason, instead of milk drink or an espresso, I decide to drink coffee, I do not use that second setting because I don't know, it doesn't taste as flavorful as it can possibly get. So I would go into long, the third position. What it does, you will notice the difference between how the coffee was dispensed, just an all-in-one big swoop. While this one, it's gonna give you the same exact amount, but it's gonna brew it a little bit longer, and it will dispense it into smaller bits, just like it dispenses an espresso. So let's check it out. And there we have it. This was a long. You just saw how coffee was made and how it was compared to in long when it was being spat out in smaller bits. This spout also comes up and down. So now, as you have noticed, after you finished this making this coffee, popped up with this symbol. Shows that we need to add water, means that this tank is empty or near empty, so it does not have enough to make the next drink. And looking aside, yep, it's almost out, but this is, I guess, below minimum line. Let's go add some water. Now we're going into the cappuccino territory. That would require us to insert milk nozzle. Carafe. Push it in. Simple as that. Make sure that the spouts are going over the cup, and also the milk dispenser that is also over the cup. I'll press brew. The wheel setting is the dispenser. Now it shows us that we have to clean after using the milk. Make sure don't leave this cup underneath here for too long a period of time, so the machine can turn off and then it will clean into the same vessel. Make sure don't leave it out there sitting. So now we're just doing manual cleaning. If it tells us milk clean, and you will flip it over to the right to clean, and it will automatically purge. Now it is ready, and you can remove the container if you want to. Just remove it and place it into your fridge. Make sure to always wipe down these connections. And this can be easily cleaned directly in the dishwasher by disassembling it into the starting pieces and putting it in a dishwasher. Make sure to clean it in between each use. Now a latte macchiato. Again, position it underneath. As I said, this cup will accommodate 2 servings, so we could go double, but in our case we'll just go with a single. The initial position in the center, indicated by the froth cup, and push. And again, it shows milk clean. If you're continuing to make more milk products, you don't have to do this. Just keep on making it. But if this is your last one and you want to make sure to clean out all the lines, make sure to always clean it. Since we're moving on forward, and we're going to have to go ahead and clean it. The last function here is the water dispenser. And to get the water going, we'll go back to this. All we have to do is just hit brew, and it will start dispensing water straight out of your tank. If you press it once, it will dispense only 8 ounces, and then it will stop. But after that, you can keep hold brew again, and it will keep on dispensing. Let's go with it. I have to be honest, I've even used this to make ramen noodles. I've even used it to make cereal in the morning. I've used it for making oatmeal in the morning. But that's how it goes. So now we just have this hot cup, and you can use this water for whatever. Really, it's we don't even use the kettle anymore. The first thing you should do once you purchase this coffee machine is that you need to measure the water hardness level with a test kit that is provided with the machine. If you do run it and then you set the machine using those parameters that you just come up with, it will allow the machine to produce a much better, much more enjoyable drink. Let's change out the water filter. So first things first, we got to remove it from the packaging. And then we're going to rinse the filter with about half a liter of tap water. So I'll just rinse it off. In order to activate the filter, we have to put it under tap water until the water overflows the side openings for more than 1 minute. Now we are back to our original tank. So this is the original tank. So I'm going to pull off the old filter. And there it just came out. As easy as that. Here's an interesting one. These two filters look different. So this is the new one that I got from Delonghi, and this is the one that came with the machine originally. So you can see the bottoms are a little bit different. This one is just straight through shot. This one, it's a little bit more complicated. There's some kind of screen inside. The dial is a little bit different, as you can see. That one was set to 6-7. This one is 8-9. So for 2 months, 2-month intervals. Alright, now we'll be putting this one in. So this was the old one. Let's put this one in. Now I'm gonna go and fill up the rest of this tank with water. Now we take the filter and place it completely in the tank. Just get it completely immersed in the water. Make sure that all the bubbles have escaped. Now let's insert it into the housing. Should just pop in. Not that way. It just sits there. It's not even, it doesn't click in or anything. There, it just literally just kind of pushes in and it sits there. Put the cover back on. Slide it into the machine. It recognizes that the water is there. Now let's test the water. Switching it over to hot water. Looks like it's working perfectly fine. Descaling is also a pretty simple process where all you have to do is dump out the liquid that is currently in the machine, including the tank, and then you put in the solution, the descaling solution, into the tank. You run it through and the machine does everything for you, and in about 20 minutes you'll be able to run a bunch of rinse cycles, and that is it. That's simple. And now for the promised exclusive content. This trick is not in any of the manuals. I was kind of worried that I didn't have this feature. So I called Delonghi and spoke to the customer support, and I asked them how I can do this, and come to find out, we can do it. My problem with this here is that it dispenses milk only in conjunction with coffee. While if you just have another machine where you have the frothing one, where you can pour whatever the amount of coffee that you want to put on there, and then you can easily just heat it up and use it in whatever quantities. Here, you're always tied into whatever is set as a setting in the machine. So I called Delonghi and I asked them, what can I do? How can I just make it dispense milk only without coffee? And guess what? There's a way. And really, it's very simple. It's a bypass. What you do is you use the hopper for the ground coffee as a setting when you start dispensing macchiato or a cappuccino. So what it does is it thinks that there is coffee, but really there isn't. So it dispenses only milk, and it does not use anything for the coffee grinds. And then you can keep on dispensing more and more and more. So let's test it out. Holding this down until the scoop appears. Scoop it on screen. Now I will set it. Now it's already set on the latte. Technically nothing should even come out of here. Let's line it up just in case. And a brick. There you have it, milk only. Press it again, and I'll just keep on giving you out the same amount of milk every time with no coffee. Problem has been solved. I have 0 complaints on this machine. I have literally 0 complaints about this machine. I love everything about it. So after seeing all of these different things that you can do with this machine, don't you really agree with me that this is a really cool machine? It is pretty much a true automatic that does everything that needs to be done, and it does it fully automatically with very little input, and it's mostly involved during the cleaning process. But operation wise, it does everything. You fill it up and you dump out the trash. That's it. Everything in the middle, it's all done fully automatically. That is why this is my favorite machine. After looking at a whole bunch of different ones, this was the one that I chose to actually buy for me, and it completely met all of my expectations. This machine is a little bit pricey for an average consumer, but I think it is really worth it. If you do want to experience this machine, you could buy it pre-owned, and I've seen it on eBay and even on Amazon as refurbished, going for about $600-700. And yeah, if you really want to, go ahead and buy it. But remember that if you're not buying it brand new, you will not get the 2-year warranty that Delonghi offers. And especially on this kind of complicated piece of equipment, something could go wrong easily, and this 2 years is a real safety blanket. I hope you enjoyed this video and this was useful for you and you learned something new about this machine. If you are planning to purchase it or you already own one, please subscribe to the channel and I'll hope to see you around. Now it's time to make a double macchiato and enjoy how it looks in a mug.